Now it was mentioned that the committee did not investigate the political aspects, did not investigate political conceptions, and the investigation was very, very narrow. And it is very important, and again, it was mentioned before, so I'm not going to elaborate on it, but it was clear that until today, the political failure or the political conception was not discussed in the public debate among Israelis. I believe that until the last year or two, not many Israelis knew how close, or I'm not saying that we were close, but we were not aware to the fact that this option was really on the table. And I believe that in order to try to avoid past mistakes, this should be the center of every political or even public debate that deals with reality today, with the near future, in order not to repeat the mistakes, or in order for us to know that we really learned the lessons of the failure of 73. Now, if I understand it, and the explanation was given, but it was very clear, it is very clear to me that Golda Meir, with Dayan and Galili, refused to negotiate or refused to accept a proposal that was on the table, whether it was given by Kissinger or directly. For me, it is much less important. I'm not quoting, but if I understand her answer, in a way, she is saying, first of all, timing is not the right timing. Second, the partner, in this case, the Egyptian partner, is not the right partner, he's too weak. Third, concessions are too high. And last, before elections, or in other words, domestic political pressure does not give me the flexibility, does not allow me to go forward in this direction. So these were more or less the reason for her not to accept this proposal. Israelis know exactly, and it was quoted many times when Dayan told us it is better to have Sharm el-Sheikh without peace than peace without Sharm el-Sheikh. So this was the Israeli paradigm at that time. So the question whether we could or we could not have peace without losing thousands of people in a very, very difficult battle is yet to be analyzed and yet to be discussed. But for me, this is the major topic when we are trying 40 years after this war to ask ourselves whether we learn the lessons or whether we understand what should we do in the near future. And in a way, I'm trying to put the same question in perspective or in the language of today. We in Israel, we are very good in understanding, analyzing the risks. But the question is whether our ability to understand and to analyze the risk blind us from the ability to seize opportunities that are lying ahead of us. The Arab Spring became autumn, and today it is considered a very dark winter. And what we see around us, in a way, it is a new Middle East. Not the pink, not the optimistic Middle East that we have been promised by our leaders during the 90s. It is a very, very unstable and very dangerous new Middle East that the main characteristics are, with all the cautious, I think that we have to understand that we are only in the very beginning of a very, very long process. I think that we have to accept the idea that it will be very unstable for the next many years. No one knows how many years. We shall see revolutions and counter-revolutions. Second characteristic, I believe that the way we understand our region, at least when it comes to the Middle East, Huntington was totally wrong. What we see around us is not clashes between civilizations, but clashes within civilization. We see around us clashes within the Islam. When we try to understand, or when we try to see whether there is a common denominator between events in Tunisia, Egypt, Libya, Syria, Iraq, I think that what we see is struggle, conflict between Sunni to Shia, between pragmatism to radicalism. It is a battle or a struggle for legitimacy and on the way or the ways that Islam should take in the beginning of the 21st century. Now the tendencies, again, too early to understand, but probably what we can see even today, although it is very early, political Islam is getting stronger, and political Islam will be a major player in the Middle East in the next years. Second, the economic crisis is deepening and is influencing or influence today on the ability of governments and administrations to supply the basic services to people all around the Middle East. Egypt is disappearing as a regional player. It is very important to understand because from the Israeli point of view, Egypt was a cornerstone for our strategy during the last 40 years. The idea that Egypt, as a pragmatic player, can be the cornerstone of a strategy or even a kind of a pragmatic coalition is not valid anymore. The position or the power of America in the region is decreasing dramatically. And since the power of Israel in the region was based in a way on the power or the dominance of America, it is becoming part of the Israeli security concept or even future strategy. There is a dramatic change in the division of political power in the Middle East. All the governments are getting weaker, and the street, the masses in the street, are getting much more powerful and much stronger. Now, the immediate implication for Israel is that the old strategy based on Egypt is not valid anymore. Probably even more important, the traditional diplomacy collapsed. The diplomacy that was based on the idea that leaders have the legitimacy and the power to negotiate in secret places and to go back to their people, to us, and to promise us no more war, no more bloodshed, is over.